Punch, y'all. This is Spike Punch.
Hope the killers understand.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Sean P. for Spike Punch, and I'm here with my main man, Richmond filmmaker Praheme. What's up, dude? What's happening?
Thank you for having me, man.
Man, thanks for sitting down with us,
Yes,
man.
sir.
You know, first question I was going to ask you, because earlier when I talked to you, I was like, well, do you have a last name so I can give him your whole name? But you was like, well, I don't use the last name. Is it any reasoning behind that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, I mean, I came up with Praheme as like a pen name when I was in like middle school. So when I would write poetry, short stories, it would just be Praheme. And so when I got to film school, my government name is Patrick Ricks. And so when I got to film school, there were a bunch of Patricks. And so I was just like, all right, I don't want to be called Black Patrick or any other derivative of any sort of Patrick. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go by Praheme as a filmmaker and just kind of brand myself, allow it to be a little different. And then I always knew that eventually I was going to disassociate from my slave name. You know, that was
Government name.
Yeah, I already knew that was going to be a part just from reading Malcolm X a long time ago. So that was always going to be part of the plan. And Praheme just stands out. You don't meet too many Prahemes in the world. So
Yeah, I feel you. So what part of Richmond are you from? And I've been here a long time, and I really only recently ran into you, like, cutting your hair at the barber shop. So what part of Richmond are you from?
I'm from the north side, Sherwood Park area. So it's like right by Ginner Park, right by the Arthur Ashe Center, right by the baseball diamond.
Okay, yeah, so if you're from Richmond, you ought to know where the hell that
Yeah.
is. What got you into filmmaking? How'd you get started? Where'd you get started?
Okay, so I mean, I always knew I wanted to be a storyteller. You know, I've been dabbling in like short stories, poetry since like 5, but filmmaking specifically, I didn't really get to until about 15. And so like after I didn't make the basketball team my freshman year, I was like, I need to reassess like my dreams and my goals. And so I started to look at what I already enjoyed doing, film, like writing, you know, poetry, short stories, photography. And then I figured out filmmaking was an option that kind of combined all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I did a terrible short film when I was like a sophomore in high school. That kind of got the ball rolling. I really enjoyed that process, just to take something from an idea, shoot it, edit it, and then show it to people. I was in love with that process. And then my senior year, I shot a documentary on my senior year and like edited together and then sold it back to my classmates. And so that was really like, they got the ball rolling, and it was like, all right, now I need to go to college, continue studying, try to learn as much as I can. Went to Howard, studied film there. Wasn't really serious on film because I was enjoying life, partying.
Yeah, the
and
college
so
life.
and so I remember I met Daphne Reed when I was in high school and told her that I wanted to be a filmmaker, and she was just like, if you want to do filmmaking and anything else, you know, learn as much as you can, and when you think you know it all, continue to go learn some more.
Yeah.
So after I got out of Howard, I was like, I felt like I still needed to learn more, so I went to graduate school at Florida State. And they kind of, I feel like that's where I really like sharpened my skills as far as like learning industry style making movies. Howard taught me how to do independent, go grab a camera and shoot it all by yourself. And then Florida State taught me how to like do the studio style, hire other people who know what they're doing. And so yeah, about 15 is when I fell in love with filmmaking.
So basically, each one of your school experiences has just been a different leg of the experience. You say you went to Florida and you kind of got the business and executive and how to run a set or to make a movie or put it together in moving pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Howard, you got the hands-on with the
Get
film.
the guerrilla. You learn the guerrilla style of making movies.
Right. Make whatever you got to work. All right, so you say you made a feature film already, right? Which would be Troop 491? Adventure of the Motherland,
yes,
right?
Sir.
So my question is, how in the hell do you write a whole movie? I mean, what is the process?
I mean, it starts with really just an idea, you know, and you start with the idea and then you just kind of let it flesh out. And so I had a script that I wrote. It was like an R-rated high school movie that one of my boys, he didn't really like the way his character was featured. So he stepped to me and was like, look, man, I think you should do something more positive. Tell a story about how we all went to school together, went to church together, and we went scouts together. And I just thought that was like a fresh idea, just a black Boy Scout troop, something that nobody's ever seen before. And so it started with just that idea. Then we came up with an outline and said, all right, how can we tell this story? What can we talk about in this story? Had an outline, then we did a first draft. The first draft was not that good. It was about like earning merit badges and all this other stuff. And so it took about a year of rewriting it, letting other people see it, saying, hey, what do you think about this? What does this make you feel? And then, you know, after maybe like 10, 15 drafts, about a year and a half, we felt like it was at a solid enough place to where it was ready to get made.
So I'm curious, to go along with the rest of the questions, how does an independent filmmaker fund a movie? Come across resources, location, equipment, all of the things that it take to pull a movie together on an independent basis, especially like you said with the limitations of funding a lot of times.
Well, I mean, it can come from a multitude of places. So, I mean, most independent filmmakers are going to get it directly from their families, their friends.
Friends and family.
Friends and family is where it's got to start, because if they won't invest in you, why is some investor with $1 million going to come and you can't even get your grandma to give you no money?
Right.
So friends and family is the first place. Then, you know, you could take a step up and do like Kickstarters, crowdsourcing.
And we're going to get to that in a second too.
And so basically leveraging your friends and your relationships and trying to get some money from them. If you have rich people in your family, those are great places to ask for money as well. And then, you know, you could try to find investors. But if you don't have any money, then you start to look at your relationships and your resources. Can you find actors in your neighborhood who are willing to work for free? Can you find locations that are willing to let you shoot in them for free? Can you find places that feed people and see if they'll feed you guys for a sponsorship credit? And so it's thinking outside of the box and saying, all right, these are the things that I need. How can I go about getting them in an inexpensive manner?
All right, one thing that I'd like you to explain, and I understand what it is, but to the people watching, and especially startup artists, startup business people, entrepreneurs, filmmakers, anybody really, it's what is crowdfunding? Because I know you use that as a tool, and you done spoke on that previously in the interview, but what exactly is crowdfunding and how does it work?
So crowdfunding is essentially just going out to a crowd and asking them to help fund your project, and you're using small donations. So $5, $10, $25, and you using all your friends, your family, and basically using them to be smaller investors than just going to one big investor. And so crowdfunding comes in like different forms. You have like Kickstarter is your most popular one. And so with Kickstarter, that is, you have to have a set goal, and if you don't hit your goal, you don't get the money. And so that's the parameters for that one. Then you have like Indiegogo, where you don't have to hit your goal, but if you don't, then they'll take a larger percentage. Then you have like GoFundMe, which is more of like, hey, my cousin just died, we need to bury him, help us raise money for that. So GoFundMe kind of is a little bit more open. It's not strictly for like films or books or TV shows, and so you can utilize it for whatever it is that you want. And so you set up a digital campaign, you let the audience know what it is, the project that it is that you're trying to raise money for, let them know what you would use the funds for, and if you decide to give away gifts as like an incentive, then you list your gifts. And so if somebody gives $5, usually they get a digital thank you. You give $25, you get a t-shirt. Or, you know, and if you don't want to give away gifts, then you could just do a straight up like GoFundMe and say, hey, I'm just trying to raise X amount of dollars to shoot this video, and we're not giving away any prizes or anything. But the prizes help people feel like they're a part of the project and that they're involved. And also it's like a way to market the project that you're working on. So if you got a dope song that you're trying to raise $5,000 for, you can go to your friends, your cousins, and let people know, hey, give me $5. You'll get a sample from the original song, and then maybe like a digital download. So now people have invested in you, they get something, and then at the end of the day, you got this dope song that you can now put out into the world.
Well, and speaking of, you know, people believing in you and knowing people and being attached to people, you had some attachment to Tim Reed.
Yes.
Who is Tim Reed, and how did Tim Reed help you? Just
Okay.
for the people to know
So
who
Tim Reed is a seasoned movie vet. I mean, he's like a 30-year veteran. He's acted in movies, he's produced movies, he's actually directed films, he's think he's directed about 4 or 5 movies. Most people know him from WKRP in Cincinnati, which was on in like the 70s. Then
Back
he was,
in the day.
Yep.
All
Then
right.
he was the dad on Sister Sister.
With Tia
And Tamara, and then I think he even was on like the 70s show. But so he had a studio in Petersburg, Virginia called New Millennium Studios that he runs with his wife, Daphne Reed.
that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and
Right.
Daphne Reed she's a successful actress. She was most known for being the second mom on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And so for anybody listening, like if you're trying to do something for the first time, I mean, I would strongly suggest finding somebody who knows what they're doing to work with you so that you can utilize their expertise.
As a musician in Richmond for 25 years, basically, what do you do about soundtracks for your movies? And I understand that you incorporated some local people into the soundtrack for the Muddy Lions movie.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to get the best music for the amount of money that we have. And so because the movie was so much about Richmond, I felt like it only made sense to have as much local music as we could possibly have. And so I went to TJ as a freshman, and I had Mr. McGee as my principal. And
Everybody
I just remember,
know Miss McGee.
Exactly.
Everybody, yeah.
And remember the
he
Super
mentored us.
Friends. Yeah, that album came out, so he was one of the first people that I reached out to and see like, hey, is there any way that I could get any Super Friends music involved in this? He gave me the blessing and allowed me to put like 2 Super Friends tracks in there. We got Chance Fisher to drop the opening to the movie. Got a beautiful song from Angela, who's an R&B singer.
Yeah.
I played football with Red Rum growing up, and so
Okay.
reached out to Rum and got him to bless us with a track. And we also have a track from Young Prince Charles, who's like one of the dopest young rappers in the city. And then there was another kid named Ty Wo, who just happened to be working in the studio where we were doing the mixing, and the guy told me about him. I liked his music and was like, hey man, let's put it in there.
All right. So now I have a question about casting, finding talent to play the roles. And one thing, and it is just a personal question to me because I don't have an inroads to ask people in media these type of questions, but I got you, so I'm gonna ask you. I've been noticing lately that women, especially in media, are changing. You know what I'm talking about? They're getting a little thicker. Like they got a plus size model for Sports Illustrated cover. You got Viola Davis playing How to Get Away with Murder. Not your traditional looking female actresses. Do you think that it's about time for that to be happening, to get away from the traditional skinny white lady, only this look fits this role?
Yeah.
And it's really been a barrier, especially to women, in media, the internet, advertising, music videos. And how do you feel like you might be able to help the change in that situation?
Well, I think
Before we even go, because I, for one, I'm not a fan of the super skinny ribs and the backbone showing women. I
Yeah.
like women that look like women. You know what I'm saying? So
fully fleshed out woman.
yeah, real women.
And what I think you're seeing is there's a demand for the diversity and looks all across the board.
Right.
And so you're starting to see more films that have like just a global casting. Like they'll have somebody from Africa, they'll have somebody from London, because the studios are trying to figure out how to make money. And they know if they could say, we got this actor from London, when we take it to London, they can make more money. If we take it over here, we can do this. And so what I think you're seeing is black women are becoming more popular. Black content is becoming more popular, and they're starting to see like, hey, there's money that can be made off of having more voluptuous women or having women who aren't your traditional looks, and they're making money. So now that they're making money, you'll start to see them make more content like that.
All right, and with all of that said, do you have any advice you'd like to share for burgeoning filmmakers?
Okay. If you want to get into this business of filmmaking, I would suggest to immerse yourself in the craft. What I mean that is like, like a basketball player who's always got the basketball in their hand, they always dribbling, they're shooting all the time, anytime that they can, they're doing it. That's how you got to be about filmmaking. Whether that's reading books, reading scripts, reading, whatever you can get your hands on, watching movies, watching the behind the scenes on movies, taking classes on filmmaking, and then start writing and creating your own content. So first, immerse yourself, study, learn as much as you possibly can, and then get out there and start making stuff. Don't expect that your first thing you're gonna make is gonna be good. Be okay with making shitty stuff.
Yeah,
The shitty stuff is where you learn how not to make the shitty stuff.
Right.
And I tell you, the filmmaking is really made in the editing room. So it's like, you know, you take this script, you go out, you have these grand ideas of what you want to do, and you say, all right, this is the plan. Then you step to the second phase and you try to go shoot the plan, and that never goes according to plan. And then when you get into the editing room is where you see, like, this is what I have, how do I make the best out of this shit that I have right here in the editing room. And so editing is where filmmakers are going to learn how to become better filmmakers.
And storytellers.
And so the pace, the tone, where you cut. So make something so that you can get into the editing room and start learning about the ins and outs of how to make the movies.
Well, look, man, thank you so much for sitting down with us and doing the deed with us today, man. We need to get more folks like you on this show, man.
Well, let me know,
very, very insightful, man. So thank you for coming to Spike Punch, man, and we'll see you in the future, I'm sure.
For sure, man. Well, thank you for having me, man.
All right.
Oh, what's up, babe? Yo, man, I'm still feeling tense after that workout, and I took a shower, man. I don't know how to get this out.
I know how to get that out. Come on over here. Let me give you a massage. Rub that out.
I bet. Game's coming on too.
I know you work hard.
Oh, man. God damn, they don't got no feng shui. Who the fuck would they put that right by the door?
Hey, did you hear? I fucking heard something.
I ain't hear shit, man.
I swear I heard something.
Man, you playing in your mind, man, for real. Shit on it. You alright? Ain't nobody here, right?
You right. Yeah, still, you know, I want to pass it, run upon us and bite us and shit. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you. Come on, let's get this money.
Alright.
I fucking heard something.
Yo, what?
Did you fucking hear it?
Yeah, I heard that shit.
Did you go fucking check it out?
Alright, man.
Shit, told you we shouldn't move these fucking apartments, ratchet ass, dirty ass, dangerous ass neighborhoods.
Man, you know my credit score ain't shit.
Fucking credit score, bitch, bitches.
What the fuck is this?
You know what's up.
Oh my god!
Hell?
Man, what the fuck, man? You said won't nobody go be here, B?
Man, look, man, you gotta chill.
Bro, I can't take this, man. We supposed to have an easy lick, man. In and out. You feel me?
It's gonna be easy. It's gonna be in and out. Trust me.
What's in and out? She right there, B.
Man, you got a knife.
What that mean? I don't even I don't try to catch no charge like that, bro.
I'm gonna show you what to do with this knife. Yeah. Now I don't need this knife. Hold this to me, bro. Yeah.
Poisonous.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Yo, get your ass up, bro. What the fuck was that, man?
Causing ruckus like the aftermath from guns blast. Run fast. Here comes a with assaulter. Rhymes like a child. Slums abroad, and my thoughts are ready to start to slice the mic from the cord.
Faye. Faye.
What?
Wake up.
Oh, damn. Babe, I had the weirdest dream. Why am I on the floor? Like, I had the weirdest dream, man. Like, I thought some robbers came in. What the hell?
Yeah, robbers came, but you fucking whooped their ass.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Bitch ass nigga.
Some in the trusses in the streets I walk. Mine ending up in jail if you hear them talks. In our short years we seen a lot. My boy Tristan witnessed a man get shot. Then the life so cool became oh so hot. But let me take you back.